Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the meeting of the Kennebunkport Selectboard. Tonight is the 28th of August. It is currently 6 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order and ask you please to rise as we pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now, as is our pattern, we will have, first, we are going to approve the August 14th, 2025 Select Board minutes.
So moved.
Second.
First and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor. And now for item 4 is the public's opportunity to address the board with any issue that is not currently on the agenda. Yes.
Did you have
I don't really have an issue. Well, it is an issue, but it's about how the town does funding. I do have a slide that I'm hoping can come up to show the debt of the town as it is. And I know that we're looking at bonding, a very significant bond for another project. And I just want people to be aware of how the town has already bonded almost $14 million in the past 4 or 5 years. And we're looking at bonding another $6 million project. And when we look at the in-debt service, we're making interest payments of almost $500,000 if this chart's right. So if we bond another $6 million, we're gonna be adding more to our debt. So all I wanna do is hopefully make people aware of what we have for significant bonds, because prior to that, all the bonds are less than $1 million. And so this is what we have right now. And if you do scroll down at the bottom, please. It shows the bonds and the larger bonds that we've taken out recently, the $6 million for the village parcel, the $8 million for the wastewater treatment, which I know that was a topic in the last meeting too, about fairness of how wastewater's done. And 60% of that bond is through the entire town. So even people on non-systems, non-sewer systems have to pay for the sewer system because it has to be based off capacity, not need. But I just wanted to bring this up in the meeting and hopefully everyone to see what level of bonding that we're doing, and that maybe we need to rethink how we fund our projects and maybe put more money aside for these larger ticket items. Because I've also heard that we need a lot of work at the highway garage. We're gonna need more stuff at the police department, and all this is probably gonna get bonded on top of these bonds. So that's all I wanted to state, and hopefully bring people awareness to how much debt the town is carrying right now.
I don't know that there's
Okay,
anything to
okay.
address. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that was a chart that we had.
Oh, no, absolutely, it's true, it's true. No,
Yeah,
it's
I'm not disagreeing.
no, it's absolutely true. I think it's important to, okay. Thank you very much. Any other thoughts? And anybody out in Zoom land?
No hands raised.
All righty. We'll move on to item number 5. This is going to be a public hearing. We're addressing a special amusement permit submitted by RCHIP LLC, doing business as Ryan's Corner Irish Pub. As you're aware, we had a special hearing, public hearing at the last meeting, at which Ryan's was awarded a liquor license. At that time, it was also a request for a special amusement license. The decision at the end of that meeting was that the owners of Ryan's and the neighborhood folks representing the neighborhood would get together to hammer out some nuts and bolts that could go around that special amusement agreement, so that there was grounds that if there were a complaint, there would be something to be able to have to enforce whatever that complaint might be. So that has occurred. The community got together, the neighbors got together with the folks at Ryan's. They put together a memo which which goes along, associates with the special amusement permit request. There were some pieces that came up in that memo that we would like to address. And one of those was specifically to have a decibel level that could be associated with the mention of measuring decibels for the establishment. So that the town is suggesting that we use an existing ordinance for sound pressure levels. That's 240-6-16, which provides an acceptable level for sound associated with other than construction or special items within the town environment. And that decibel level is on the chart using the DBC chart of 72. So what does that number mean? And when you look at subjective measures for that number, it falls between what would be a vacuum cleaner at 80 and office noise at 70. So this would be the noise level that would be measured at the perimeter of the property that would be seen. If it was above that, would be in violation of this agreement. If that's something that can be agreed to, then I think we can move forward with that piece. So, Mr. Ryan?
Yes, is this enforced for the town, for every other business?
Joe, can
Or
you
just
come,
me?
Joe, the microphone?
Sorry. Is this just for me, our place, or is this for the town?
Well, this is trying to add some objective measure to what your agreement is.
Okay.
I mean, your agreement, as it reads, is that a decibel level shall be used to determine whether, it's in compliance.
But who is determining the decibel level?
Well, I'm suggesting right now that we put what the town ordinance
Okay.
says at 72.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that is the town
Yes.
ordinance, the town,
Yes,
not, okay.
yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah,
Yes, for the town.
yeah. Well, it's a town level. I don't know of any other amusement license that has that associated with it. I will establish that.
So, again, so this decibel level is just for Ryan's.
That is according to your agreement with the neighborhood, yes.
I have not agreed on a decibel level. I
Okay.
have talked about doing our utmost best to keep noise from the neighbours and from the street, but I have not talked about a decibel level.
I'm sorry, maybe I misunderstood. The agreement that I have says, in addition to town ordinance on decibel levels, the proprietors and the neighbors will work together in good faith to hold the town of Kennebunkport rules and regulation according to the special amusement permit. So we need a number,
Okay.
right? I mean, the point is, it comes to enforcement. When you provide something this, an agreement like this, then the town needs some way that we can enforce it. So that's the issue that I think we're having with having this written agreement that now you and the neighbors are agreeing to. So we're kind of in a spot here.
Yeah, when it comes to the decibel reading, yes.
All right, so maybe this needs a little more, yeah, excuse me. We do have one other piece of input from Galen.
Good evening, Board. I just wanted to clarify for the record that that standard that's in your land use ordinance for Chapter 240, that is applicable town-wide. So every establishment and every property in town has to abide by those sound pressure levels. So we are keeping this uniform with all establishments in town, and if we receive complaints, we will certainly evaluate that at the property line. And that's either the police department after hours or during normal daytime hours. That's done by the code enforcement officer.
Excellent, thank you, Galen. Is that good? Yeah, thank you. So then you're in agreement then that we can use that standard?
Yes, I just didn't want to be singled out.
I hear you,
So,
and I
okay.
didn't,
As long
yeah,
as it's across the town board, that's perfectly fine with us.
perfect, thank you so much.
Does that go for outside music as well for the town? Is that the same ordinance? 72, I would assume? Is that right, David?
Say it again.
So when the town, we do have our federal businessmen do outside music. We're not allowed to do outside music, I'd like to clarify. But the outside, is that the same as the town ordinance for 72?
Yeah, that's the sound
Perfect.
pressure levels for all establishments in town.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful, thank you.
Perfect.
Good to know.
Perfect. The other question was just to clarify what days of the week, when you say that it's 5 days a week, so what days do you plan to have music? That was one question.
I really would like to leave that open, but for the majority of time, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah,
But
so we're saying just
But
at
the-
5 days, so we're not
5 days,
specifying.
5 days in the summer,
It's-
we have specified the winter, Saturday, Friday and Saturday.
The only thing was if somebody had said, but that's good, we're
Right.
saying it's 5 within 7, we
Correct.
may move
And,
around.
you know, maybe on a Monday evening, somebody might want to play a
Yeah.
little music. I mean, it's happening right now. We have a friend bringing a week from Monday, a friend is bringing a guitarist to play at Ryan's.
Yeah,
He's just jamming, he's just hanging out.
yeah,
Yeah,
perfect,
so, okay.
perfect. Are there any other questions from, oh, sorry, let's open a public hearing. Before, sorry, this was all in the middle. So this is a public hearing. It is your opportunity, anyone in the audience or on Zoom, to have input to this issue. Are there any other questions from the board? Yeah, please, go
Make
ahead.
a couple of comments here. Hi, I'm Tom Vanderschaff. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Whereabouts do you live?
I live at 17 Main Street, which is 2 doors down from Brian's site. So we're probably about the 5th or 6th closest residents. The other 4 are adjacent to Ryan's that are closer. But close enough, like we could play catch if we wanted to.
Oh, you
from
have a
my
good
house.
arm. You'd have a good arm. but
I
go
was a
ahead.
catcher. But, anyway, so live there with my wife and 2 children, and had a chance to meet several times now with Joe and Tracy, and I think it's been productive. And we've collaborated on the outline that was submitted with the permit, and we continue to support that outline. We're happy with the dialogue and the factors outlined there. I do realize that some of the things were vague in there because frankly, this is a bit new for all of us and we're not sound engineers. So I did want to clarify that there were a couple of processes that were, I think, lightly addressed in the permit roadmap. One was we did agree to a process of notifying Joe and Tracy if there are issues on a, I guess, tactical basis. If there's a noise problem, we're going to call them first, and hopefully they rectify it. If that doesn't happen, I guess we'll escalate from there. That was our intent. The second thing is we had also agreed, I think, to meet monthly to talk about any recurring issues, noise or otherwise, that may happen. And I thought it'd be good if we offered notes or something like that up to you if that's of value to see how things are going over the course of the next few months.
Be good to document anything, sure.
Sure. I did, we were supportive of that, the town provide monitoring and enforcement on the townwide standard basis, whatever that was, 240-6. We're supportive of that, so I'm glad to hear that you guys are in agreement with that as a ceiling. But we're also prepared to serve as, I guess, guinea pigs with, 346-3? That's part of the special amusement code around unnecessary noises. We're happy to to notify when and if those types of issues come up that are disturbing, annoying, or causing harm to us. So I just want to raise our hand for that. I realize again that that's somewhat vague, but we've never made a noise complaint. So I think we're pretty reasonable. So I think if you start hearing a bunch of squawking from us, it's probably for a reason. Especially there's a bunch of other neighbors around that might be doing the same. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, there was one other thing. There is a reference in your agreement to Chapter 105. But 105, as I understand it, is talking about if there isn't a special amusement, then 105 would kick in. So the fact that a special amusement is in place, 105 is moot in terms of the noise. That's all, just so that you're clear on that.
Try it in English a little bit.
So 105 is on peace and good order. And as it says, it shall be unlawful for any commercial establishment without special permission from the board. The special amusement license is special permission from the board. So this applies only to things that are outside of a special amusement license. Fair enough? Yeah, yeah. Just so you know, I mean, it doesn't matter, but so you understand that when it's in the. All righty. Are there any other comments from the board?
Well, there's the hand up, there's another hand up, John.
Yes, please. Come.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beverly Soul, and I'm...
Do you have your address, please, just for the record, your address?
16 Spring Street.
Thank you.
I'm not here to disagree with all the technicalities that have been presented here. I have lived in Dog Square for 29 years, and I've seen a lot happen. And I would just like to review a little bit and express my opinion, and where this goes is where it goes. When I moved to Village Residential 29 years ago, this site at 2 Dog Square complex of shops was a storage maintenance shed. When Vanderloop was approved as an organic restaurant approximately 15 years later, the shed was made into the restaurant. The open space next to it was approved as a porch for seasonal dining. After some time passed, the porch evolved into a year-round dining room. After Vanderloop left, Chez Rosa moved in as a French bistro. Historically, this site has become home to a small, quiet dining specialty restaurant. These kinds of restaurants fit into the residential nature of the neighborhood. Ryan's proposal is for a pub with music. It is not appropriate for this residential neighborhood for the following reasons. Noise, mainly, for the neighbors. And I hear all this about decibels, but I question how long the windows will stay closed in the pub and how quietly pubgoers will be when they leave. No specific parking is available for pubgoers. There's no parking. They will search the streets of the neighborhood for a parking space or retreat to the town parking lot behind Allison's or the North Street parking. I personally already have lost tourists roaming my property looking for an easier way, quicker way to get from North Street parking lot into town. With the pub in my neighborhood, I'm concerned about loitering, trespassing, public urination. Traffic congestion already exists with tour buses parking on Cross Street. Traffic congestion overflows into the residential streets and will continue to. Where will smokers go to smoke? Only a bench outside the entry door exists. Drinking alcohol is the focus in a pub. In today's world of disagreement, we do not need to fuel the fire. By approving this proposal, the town is opening a Pandora's box of problems. May I suggest a site visit to see the limitations of the location. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I mean, just on a couple of points that you brought up about the buses and the traffic and all that stuff. Urination, loitering. I believe it's happening now before we ever move in. It's, in my opinion, from what I've heard from local residents, who some of them are good friends, and from around that area, it's happening right now. It's not going to take Ryan's to bring that in. You know, the parking. Everybody today is looking for parking. I know on Main Street, there are staff parking for 3 hours, coming back and moving their car. Not staff of mine, but so. I just wanted to reiterate that's most of that is happening right now, before Ryan's come in, just for the record.
Yeah. Any other comments from, yes, yes.
Yes.
Hi. My name is Diane Pagano, and I live on Union Street at the intersection of Cross and Union, and we've lived here almost 10 years next month. I have a lot of concerns, but we've been patrons of Bandaloop, we've been patrons of Chez Rosa, and we hope to be patrons of the new venue. I have a couple of concerns. Living there for the last 10 years, I'm not seeing loitering yet. Keep in mind that the other restaurants had reservations, and typically the last seating would be at 9. I walk my dog typically around 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. And Chez Rosa, for the last 5 years, it was typically dark because my house faces the end room where the chef's table was. Secondly, I am really concerned about people who come down our street and are confused sometimes that they don't understand that Cross Street is a one-way street. I saw it again today. I see it multiple times a week. My concern is with people who have been drinking and go back to their cars. Somebody agrees to go get the car down on Main Street, come back and get their friends. They might not know that it's a one-way street. So if this is approved tonight, at the very least, and I know it's not part of this permit per se, I think we desperately need to have the signs that say "do not enter" improved. Right now, they're one-sided, and sometimes when you turn in, you really don't see it. And so some of these people may be turning in ignorance, but if it could be an accident waiting to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Ask if there are any other comments. Any comments on Zoom? David? Then I would ask comments from the board, please.
I would just like to say, I want to thank, I understand that this has been a tough issue for Ryan's and for the neighbors. I appreciate with the neighbors and their concerns. I want to thank the neighbors for taking the initiative here and working with Ryan's. I think this is I understand that maybe not everyone isn't all that happy, completely happy, but I think it's a way of the town working together to try and help a business that wants to locate, but also hear the concerns. So I do appreciate that the neighbors kind of got together and did approach Ryan's, and this has been worked out. I think it's an easier thing for the board here to decide to approve. I do have the concerns that some of the neighbors have, so I want people to know that I would definitely be up and listening to any concerns that the neighbors have over the course of the next year. A reminder that this is only a one-year license, so if there are issues that cannot be worked out over the course of the year, this will get readdressed, in my opinion, next year also.
Yeah, I happen to agree with you, David. Yeah. I think if you guys worked well together, you kind of came up with some kind of solutions, and I'm going to vote for this.
I applaud the process, and I hope that this works out, and you all can continue to talk throughout the year.
Yeah, I think this is good. I echo the other board members, and like David brought up, and we brought up last time, this is a 1 year. The license comes up for any special license for any establishment here in town on a yearly basis. My only question to the other board members and to the chair and to Lori is, at what point is this an agreement between the town or an agreement between the town and three parties? And what I mean by that is we've had some questions brought up by some of the code and police in terms of enforcement. So so for example, wedding parties, I mean, how would somebody rule whether or not a wedding party just by default could go in? I mean, if they just show up, would you have to kick them out?
It's in the document that we are doing no wedding parties. We will make sure there are no wedding parties.
Plus, we have to book a wedding party.
It's got to be booked. Yes, there are people that try to walk in, even at Ryan's right now, and we don't take them because there's a protocol in town that you need to pre-book your after party. And like at Ryan's, we do a buyout. So like Friday night, we have, even though we've got, actually we don't have, do we? We don't, no, we don't. We had to cancel Ross because we have a buyout. So we close by 9:30, and the buses from the Nonentum come at 10:30, and they stay until 12:30.
Yeah, but you don't forget, we've already said.
There is no wedding parties.
No, we've already said last call 10:30, out by 11.
Yeah.
So if people don't just turn up for that reason,
Okay.
They won't have time.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't come from the Nonentum, because the Nonentum can stay up till 10. They get in their bus 10:15 to 10:30, get to us at 10:45. So they can't do that at the new location. We don't
Okay.
want that.
So I'm just asking a point of clarification here, because I'm looking at it from our police department and potentially getting called. So for example, if there's a small wedding party and they decide they're going to just show up and have a drink, but it's just a group of them, it's not the wedding, but they happen to have tuxes on, and they walk in, is that a violation? I'm just trying to
Okay.
find what this clear line is, and that's where I'm having trouble.
What we need to know is how many people are you talking? Are you talking about 4? Are you talking about 8? Are you talking about 10?
Yeah,
Of course they'll be welcome.
Okay.
They're coming as customers,
okay,
but they will still be gone by 11.
right.
That's not a wedding party.
Okay, I'm just making
Yeah.
sure
No, that's
that
fine.
there's
I mean, like,
clarification between
A wedding
the-
party is,
Right.
our wedding parties range from 100 to 150 now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to make sure that we had it on record, the clarity of it, and that we understood from the residents that there's that clarity too. I didn't want police officers having to show up for, 2 people in a tux,
Right.
having a beer. So just wanted to make sure.
don't.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were okay. So are you good with the document in total or
I'm fine
for the town?
No, I'm fine. I think that the neighbors and Ryans have worked this out. I think we have to appreciate that they both did it. And over the course of the year, if there are issues, then
Yeah.
we will listen to them.
Anything that, so the question is what would be included in the permit? And what will be included in the permit is any conditions you note tonight. So you need to note what those conditions are.
So the level, the 72, the decibel level needs to be specified at 72 as the threshold. And that's according to we need to be clear on that. Gosh, it's either A or C, and I don't have it right in front of me, so let me get there.
One more question just on that.
It's C.
It's C, yeah.
Where is the decimal reading taken from?
At the lot line, 4 feet above the ground.
From the lot line, 4
4
feet
feet
above
above
the ground,
ground.
okay.
I got a new clarity coming.
Yes, to be clear, your condition should be that they will follow the sound pressure levels as defined in chapter 246.16, because it does change at 7 o'clock. So
That's
you
a
should be aware of that.
very good point. I would like to propose that be extended to 9.
We-
Now,
So-
what we're
so
doing is
there-
we're just using, I want to take it, because the statute's the statute,
Mm-hmm.
but 7 o'clock's too early, in my opinion. And so, because it goes down after 7 o'clock. So what I'd like to do is use the chapter 240 just as a guide to what the town is doing for other folks, and therefore pick a number, and that number is 72 on the DBC level. And rather than have it follow this where it stops at 7 PM, extend that to 9, which is the specified time for their music.
Okay, I
Does
don't
that sound
believe the
okay?
ordinance gives you that ability.
I'm not doing the ordinance.
But the ordinance is still in effect. So you're gonna have a conflict,
So what does it go down to at 7?
50.
Well, that
That's ridiculous.
is ridiculous. I mean,
Well,
I bet if you tested it
ridiculous.
right now, we are over that violation
that's
in
an
this
over-
meeting.
So, to be clear, there is an exemption to just normal human conversation. It's exempted from the
Yeah.
sound pressure levels.
Yeah, but.
It's only the music amplification is what is being measured for.
There's no difference between music amplification and me now being amplified talking into this microphone, except it's a guitar or me singing, right? I think 7 o'clock, I don't know, John, and I don't know what we're gonna do here, but I think 7 o'clock at 50 is, if that's what we're gonna do, I think that every establishment in this town has to now be measured at 7 o'clock. And if they're over, you need to shut them all down.
So
And I don't
guess-
think that's where we're
I
going.
think that's my question, is, Galen, is that, so we have special amusement licenses for our other places here in town on Ocean Ave and stuff. And so there's not an exception for noise for them because they have to fall under this ordinance? So what you're telling us is that at 7 PM, the town is down to, all these places that have amplified music are down to 50?
From their property line. If we ever get complaints, which I will say, we don't get complaints on a regular basis for these establishments. So, again, this would be a first for us. It's just not something we get complaints on.
So what you're saying is that a special amusement doesn't override, agreements within a special amusement license don't override an ordinance?
That's correct. That's your land use ordinance.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
You do have exemptions, like there's an occasional supporting cultural, religious, and public events allowed by the town.
Many people
There's
think
a
drinking
caveat
Irish
there.
beer is a religious event. So, but I'll just leave that there. I'm sorry.
I leave that at there is some exemptions to the rule, because again, there's construction noise during the day that people are allowed to, do
Yeah.
these types of
Oh, sure,
activities
sure.
that are above the threshold. And so there is a caveat of exemptions there. There isn't one for just bars and commercial establishments.
How do we do weddings at the hotels that have bands?
Same thing.
They're
It's measured from the
they're
property-
down after 7 o'clock, a night
Well-
wedding is down to 50?
Measured from the property line.
Measured from the property line.
It's from
You
the
gotta
property line, so it
admit now,
depends.
It's not
Again,
inside.
we have to remind ourselves that it's depending how far the sound is traveling distance-wise to that property line. And so if you have an event that's right on the property line, of course, that's going to be a louder decibel reading than if it were 100 yards in to the property. And again, a lot of our wedding event venues, I believe, like the New Anthem, they're sort of tuck it back in the property. They're not right on the property line.
There's no other hotel, the inns are in a residential area, and they're not allowed to have a wedding or after-hours parties like they're requiring right now, or asking for right now. The other places you're talking about now are on Ocean Ave or on the river, they're not in the residential neighborhood, so it's a different scenario.
Well,
Captain's Inn, that's a residential area, they're not allowed to have that. This is a residential area, that's what I'm saying.
They are also
No.
they are in a commercial
they are
district.
commercial, they
Just so
are
you know,
on the edge.
we're not gonna go down, because they are technically in a commercial district. They are not in a residential area. So that needs to be established. This
Yeah.
is in a commercial zone. It abuts a residential area, but they are in a commercial zone. So we are appreciative of the neighbors, but if we're gonna start pretending that they are in a residential zone, you're gonna lose that fight. You can come up to the microphone.
So so if this is a general thing, if we have general guidelines that is townwide per Galen's point, then the special license doesn't have to call out that ordinance. I mean,
Well, it's not gonna call the ordinance, I agree.
no, but we don't have to refer to something that is already enforced within town, that so we don't have to call out that section for noise decibel. What I'm saying is that
Everybody has to
that
do
the
it.
discussion between the neighbors and the and Ryan's has been an education in terms of noise decibel, what's allowed. It's also been an education for people in this room tonight of what time it's supposed to drop down. So we don't have to call that out in a special license because it's already there. It's in our ordinance.
I agree that you can't override the ordinance in a license.
Correct.
So the agreed-upon levels are higher than what the ordinance allows, and I don't believe the Select Board has the authority.
No.
Well, there are no agreed-upon levels,
no-
so
there's
that's
no
maybe
agreed-upon.
the way it would have to remain. That's,
Or
Well,
it's ju-
I think our special license would go after the main points, which is, what was agreed upon. Dinner music, 6 to 9, 5 nights in the summer, 2 nights in the winter. This is very similar to what we did for Sandy Pines when we did their special license. They said it was Fridays and it was a certain time. And then to David's point, when they came up for their annual renewal, the neighbors came in, everything was great, license was regranted because everybody was happy at that point. So I feel that there's some salient points in here that we put into the special license, but we wouldn't put in normal things that are in our
That's already
ordinance.
included in the ordinance.
Right.
yep. don't
I agree.
disagree.
Hi,
Hi.
Hi.
my name's Ann, I live at 98 Wells District.
I'm sorry, your last name, please?
LaFlamme.
Thank you.
I feel like we're starting to be on a really slippery slope where we're deciding this person has to abide by this and this person has to abide by that and that person abides by that. When we have a town noise ordinance already in effect, the fact that people keep saying drinking and everything else is feeling a little biased for what Ryan's is a restaurant foremost. But I think when we start looking at certain places and saying, well, you can come here, but you're different from everybody else, so you have to abide by these rules. And I just think it's something.
We only
that-
have one set of rules,
And I-
one set
Well,
of
we-
ordinance.
we-
No,
don't,
we
because these are-
we were walking down a path that would have given us a bifurcation. I think we're off that path.
Yeah,
Right.
we're,
So,
I
yeah.
These-
believe
these
that
are-
we need to kind of keep that in mind when we're talking about certain buildings in certain places, all of a sudden have to abide by different rules.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm
Thank
with you
you.
loud and
Yep.
clear. Yep.
So on that, we would then, so if Lori says, let's put down our list, if we pick out the salient points with our board, it's,
Well, is there anything you would drop from the established agreement? Otherwise, I would suggest we just attach the agreement to the license. Can we
That-
not do that?
I thought Lori said we needed to pick out the,
You can do that if you want, if all of those elements are going to be in there. I just wanted to clarify that there are certain pieces of that we don't necessarily have the authority to enforce.
so for example, performance in the music, I think that's a little too, I don't want I would rather, so here's my proposal, I'd like the other board members to weigh in. So I would say in our special license, we would say dinner music, 6 to 9, 5 nights a week in the summer, 2 nights a week in the winter. Inside the restaurant, establish only, no outdoor tended music. We don't have to reference the noise decibel level because that's within our land ordinance and we don't want to get caught up again in that.
Right?
I'm hesitant about putting after wedding parties. I feel that that's an agreement between the residents and the establishment, and they have their own communication. I feel that the town is overstepping on that side. I think it's an agreement for residents and that, but I'm open to hear what the other board members want to say on
Last
that.
call should be there.
And then the last call should be there. Well,
Well, last call was in the liquor license.
yeah,
Yeah.
and.
We
and the
didn't
liquor-
have last
No.
call, we had
No.
closing.
Not close of
Yeah,
business, sorry.
Yeah, we don't really do last call, we just do close, right? Close at 11.
Close at 11.
And so those would be the items that I would put into out of this whole agreement, that I would put into the town is the town agreement on the special amusement. And then noting that the residents and the proprietors have also a few other points
That they've
They can
agreed
work
that
on
they have
together.
agreed
themselves,
to,
right.
and that they have a communication protocol established. And again, we'll be back here in a year, or sooner, but definitely in a year. So I don't know, what does the board feel about
I think you're on
that?
the right track.
I like that.
Yeah, and
think
then
you're on
at
the
the,
right track.
yeah, I think this is what they have, what the neighbors and Ryan's have proposed can be attached to it. There is also the exception for St. Patrick's Day and New Year's Eve. Actually, I would say St. Patrick's Day is the only day that they really plan on maybe doing it a little bit earlier. But they're
would-
closing by 9.
I would hesitate to attach it, though, because then it becomes part of it. I think I'd rather just call out what Mary Beth had outlined as the items that would officially attach to the agreement. Otherwise, we have this enforcement issue again.
Well, I mean, can someone from the neighborhood who's kind of worked on this, how do you feel about what's being said?
Well, I'm Sarah Vanderschaff. I live at 17 Main Street. This has been a process of a lot of time, a lot of meetings with our extended neighbors, etc. I recognize this is new territory for everybody. My one concern is that sometimes, this is what I've observed in the conversation that we just had, is that sometimes we lean into ordinances and, like, oh, it's zoned this way, it's zoned that way, and those are immutable. And other times, we don't really want to look too hard at what the ordinance says. And that's what I've observed from this little conversation, because we want to have common sense, right? I think it's frustrating, just in a broad point, to be a value, to care about a town and think, where does common sense live these days? It seems like there's not a lot of room for it. And we've been both had the penalty of that and maybe the beneficiary of that, both sides. That's the big picture. I do believe that an iterative process with the Ryans may be our best way forward. I would feel more comfortable if the document that we worked on and agreed on was attached, partly because it could also be helpful in other situations. And it would have been helpful for me going into this to be able to look up and know what are the other agreements, especially in sensitive, kind of this hybrid mix of business and historic village residential.
I don't see how we can enforce some of that.
Yeah,
just don't see how we can.
I really appreciate that comment, and I understand, and I think the board has, everyone has agreed in unison and acknowledged the work that the residents and the owners did. I mean, this is a good, conversations are the best, right? Because we live in a small town, and getting to an agreement is good. I think the problem that I have is always when we go back to the town enforcements and how we give direction to our police officers and whatnot. And I would never want to go down a point where we have all special agreements between, for different establishments. So I think, for me, I'm back to sticking to the main points that we called out, acknowledging that there is an agreement between the residents and the proprietor document, and that we'll be here within a year, or we'll hear back from the residents, if there's issues.
Yeah.
And that, I think that is, I think that's, to me, that's the common sense. We do have to walk that line about overstepping into a proprietor's, especially when this is commercially zoned.
I have a question. I'm new at this. Mr. Joseph Ryan is the applicant, and he prepared the permit. And on the permit that he prepared in his own handwriting, he says, see conditions attached as part of the permit submitted. I don't know that we can sever that from the permit. It's part of the packet, it's part of the permit that he submitted.
Well, we have done that in the past, when we did special license, like for example, I'll go back to Sandy Pines, and we did that a year ago.
Yeah, but there wasn't a written document called out in the, I think we're just looking at a legal point here, that it calls out a document attached. And if there's nothing attached, that's, we can't really separate the two.
But this is an application, the board is.
Because they can change the application, is the
The board
point.
is, yeah, so the board is approving the application with these stipulations, which is, calling out certain parts of what he would have, what was called as a attachment, but letting the attachment stay at,
Eight.
so so there's two choices here. One is, if we can legally do this, we would legally do that. The second thing would be is that he'd have to resubmit the
Board has
license.
the authority to make conditions on the permit. When Sandy Pines came in, they did not have any conditions on
I
it,
got
and you
that.
guys applied conditions.
But now that this says that it's attached, can you?
It doesn't
you're not
matter.
comfortable?
Doesn't make
Okay.
any difference.
Okay.
Yeah, so Lori.
Good.
Just a last comment from me. I'm glad what Sarah said there. If we could have some common sense amongst us all out here. We're going to be back here in a year. All I can say is at this stage, let us in, give us a chance, see if we tell the truth or not. We're back in a year. It's in your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he's got a good idea.
Well,
I
I do,
agree.
I just don't want to sign up to things that we can't enforce, so
Well, we can say, let's go through it. We can say that this special amusement allows for 5 nights a week in the summer as defined from,
exactly, we got that.
as defined in Wednesday following the public school let out until the end of September. 2 nights a week in the winter. I'm just gonna say 2 nights a week in the winter. I don't necessarily think we need to have Friday and Saturday, but if Friday and Saturday. Okay, so Friday and Saturday, it's fine. 6, dinner music, 6 to 9.
Yeah,
We don't have to put the town decibels in there because it's part of the code and they have to follow it like everyone else does.
correct.
And closing at 11.
Closing at 11.
Closing at 11.
That's part of the liquor.
Yep, and that's part of the liquor license. And that might be all we need to put in there
Yeah.
for right
That's
now.
I think, I
Yeah,
just
that's what I-
reiterated, I
yeah.
think what was.
What I said.
Yeah,
Yep.
what Mary Beth said, so I think we're in violent
We're all-
agreement.
We're all on the same page.
So I'd like to make a motion.
Can we do this, do I have to close the meeting first?
You closed the public
Yeah,
hearing.
so I do need to close if there's no other comments, I will close the public hearing. And now I'll ask please for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the special permit from Ryan's as presented in their application and agreed to by what the board
Second.
just put as stipulations.
Do we need to restipulate them?
If we approve, I would like to just put in the motion that,
Yep.
understanding that dinner music between 6 and 9, 5 days a week during the summer, days can be specified within a 7-day week, 2 nights a week in the winter, that the establishment will close no later than 11 p.m. And I think that's it.
We said dinner music 6 to 9, right?
Dinner
Yeah.
music, 6 to 9, if I missed that, please. Dinner
Yep.
music, 6 to 9.
So I second, or I think I
Yep.
made the motion. Somebody want
I think we've made multiple times.
I
Okay.
seconded it, and I
You already
still will
have.
second it.
Excellent.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor.
Yay.
That was a tough one.
Welcome to town. We're a special town, and I know you know that, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next.
Our next is to, item 6 is to consider the renewal of a liquor license.
Must be more.
Hold on, guys. Board, please. Yeah. To consider a liquor license for the Lost Fire, Sador LLC, located at 62 Mills Road. The staff has reviewed and recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Item 7, this is a town hall meeting update. I believe that, that Alan Evelyn will have a presentation for us.
Good evening. I've been in front of you several times this year and several times recently. I just wanted to quickly go over a bit of the short-term history. We have a town hall committee with 9 residents. The names appear, and most of them are here this evening, scattered around. Please raise your hand if you're town hall members. We also have 2 select board members, John Dykstra and Mary Beth Gilbert. We have the town management and staff, Lori Smith, Yanina Nicholas, and Eric LaBelle, our town engineer. And then we have several consultants whom you, I hope you've seen in our videos, the expert panel videos that we produced. Again, the brief of the committee, the requirements that were placed on us to recommend a site for a new municipal building, refine the building and design, present the findings to the select board, including a fully developed cost estimate and a detailed analysis of energy-saving options. Can you flip that, Dave? It's not working.
Should he point up? Is it up? Is that the projector?
Point up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
That's what he's doing.
Sorry, technical issue.
Oops.
All right. It's a beautiful scene.
Not local.
No, not local.
Looks more like Cabo than it does.
Is it? Wow, that waterfall is awesome how it comes out of that fracture on that slope. That's just amazing.
We want to get to slide 4. So the committee has had 16 meetings since it was reestablished in January 2024. We've made 5 presentations to the select board, 2 community presentations, and 2 videos produced in-house. On August 18th, we had a community meeting, and we presented the committee's work to date and recommendations, including the showing of the 2 videos. We had 60 participants, both in person and via Zoom. We had 9 people commented, and all who voiced an opinion said that we need a new town hall. Specific comments and concerns that were expressed, 2 were about the site, 2 are about trees, 2 about the building, and 3 about traffic. The committee has reviewed the committee is making recommendations to the Board of Selectmen that the town build a new town hall and a public meeting space at 32 North Street. That the town place on the November 2025 ballot questions to, number 1, authorize the select board to design, construct, and equip a new town hall and public meeting space. Appropriate certain donations and capital reserve funds for the project, negotiate and enter into an agreement to sell the current town office property at 6 Elm Street, use the proceeds thereof toward the new project, and issue general obligation bonds in support of the project. So we're recommending that the select board issue general obligation funds
to finance solar and geothermal systems for the project, and to authorize the Select Board to issue general obligation bonds to finance bird-safe windows for the project. Any questions?
Thanks,
No.
Alan.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions from the audience? Anybody on Zoom, David?
Yes, Nina has her hand raised.
All righty.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Nina Perlmutter. I live at 13 Lock Street. I was at the last meeting where this project was presented to the board. I would like to point out that something that Mr. Allen has not pointed out is that every single one of the people who spoke, said, yes, we need a new town hall. And every single one of them was negative about this site, did not want it on the site, including 2 firefighters. I also would like to point out that the project that is being proposed is smaller than the original project that was supposed to be on the village parcel that was originally proposed, and is going to cost more money. This is 2 years down the road. I think that you ought to get some input from the people of this town before this project goes any further or spends any more money. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. Any other comments? Thank you, Alan. Item 8, we're looking at the November ballot ordinances. We have 4, actually 5, that we'll be discussing. Each one of these will need a separate vote. So we'll start with the short-term rental ordinance. This is ordinance 1209. My understanding is there are basically 3 pieces. There's the main ordinance body, and then there were 2 options. One was talking about limiting the number of licenses on a multi-unit lot. The other was specifying the need for egress windows. So
Do you want Galen to give an overview, or?
I'm not doing a good enough, of course we would.
You're doing a great
No,
job.
we absolutely would. And why don't we allow, please ask that Galen would come up and address these issues.
Good evening, Board. After last meeting, I wanted to take just a few moments of time to give some opening comments before we go and dive into discussion to the changes. I appreciate the lively discussion that occurred at the Select Board meeting last month, as it demonstrates how Kennebunkport does truly care. There will always be conflicts that arise in public policy discussions, and I think we need to be grounded in knowing what unites us as a town rather than divides us. A good way to do this is by reflecting on what we value as a community. Based on the many conversations that I've had with residents and members of the various boards, I believe many of us have decided to live or work in Kennebunkport because we cherish the stellar, charming character of this town as a safe place, and that it has just immense diversity in the people that live here with life experiences that are bar none. These values are something we truly are special to Kennebunkport, and we should cherish them as a foundation when we face challenges as a community. Now, as the town planner, I can tell you it's no secret that my duty is to serve Kennebunkport as a facilitator, not just an administrator, who fosters conversations about proactive planning to help in addressing not only the challenges now, but in the future, through analyzing trends. It is my hope that conversations will lead to respectful dialogue between community members, that we can develop policy solutions that will keep in preserving our high reputation that residents, visitors, and workers expect of Kennebunkport. The policy proposals in front of you are at the end of it. There's some optional ones, and that's what they are. They're just optional. The proposed amendments were developed by staff not as arbitrary gotchas. They were used to strengthen the values of safety that we share as a community, which visitors have come to expect when they visit our beloved community. It is a reason many of our residents decide to move here in the first place, for the summers, first falling in love with the place because of how safe it is, and realizing that this new location offered many new opportunities for us. This value, I believe, is shared with everyone in this room, as we have the expectation when we travel to new place, knowing that we feel safe, knowing that if a fire were to occur in a property that we're staying at, that there's a safe egress outside of the house without difficulty. I think we do need to dispel the rumors about how regulations for short-term rentals should apply to all residencies in Kennebunkport. This is not an apples-to-apples comparison for the nature and intensity of the use that is taking place on the property. How each of us takes care of our home and knows the home is completely different experience when people visit for a few days to a week. Going to a new property with intricacies, including new appliances that they've never used before. People on vacation are also in a different mindset than people that stay long-term in a home. They are, trying to escape from the daily grind that they're experiencing, and they're trying to enjoy, their vacation time, and they might be enjoying a few adult drinks in the process. The problem that we run into is when people are using these locations. They don't know how the grill works. They don't know how the stove works. And when they have a few adult drinks, they might forget to shut them off. And I also wanted to address, again, a little bit in here about the data. I know that was brought up in the last conversation from residents, and it's a valid concern. Where's the data to support this change? And I'll be honest, I can't find the data for them. HIPAA violations, I can't get that data for a lot of it. And short-term rental-wise, we're still in the infancy stages of this. But what I can tell you is we do have a trend. And so I'm presenting to the board, we do have a list of short-term rental license postings that show grills in various stages and ovens that have soot and burn marks already on them in town that already show that there are potential fire hazards in this town. It's not an if a fire will occur in a short-term rental, it will be when. And so we can't mitigate all this. We can't regulate and say, well, you keep the grill here and, the short-term rental people will move it over to this location. We can't change all the variables that happen whenever you regulate a short-term rental. But what we can do is at least mitigate the risk that they can safely egress the building. So as town staff, we've listened to the concerns of the property owners and short-term rental stakeholders about the program and their concerns about the cost in investing in the safety improvements for code-compliant egress windows for their properties. And we think that there is a need for striking a balance and have realistic expectations in the draft amendment to give a grace period to implement the improvements that will bring this amendment into compliance. So that's what our hope is. But again, I wanted to just welcome the opportunity to keep this conversation going, even if those optional amendments are something that you as a board feel that we need more time to delve into. I think it's still a worthwhile amendment that we should be looking into moving forward as staff. So thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and so this is specifically addressing the egress windows. Again, there are three pieces that we'll talk about. There were the general changes to the ordinance, the 50 to 2 or 50 multiple units on a single lot, 50%, and the egress windows. So having been addressed by Galen on the egress windows, let's pick that one up first for discussion. Thoughts on the board?
I think, I'm not in favor of it at this time. I think it needs more work, and I think it needs more time before we move on with the egress windows.
I will say, as a person who has probably been in more support of the egress windows proposal, we have all heard from a lot of the people who this will impact. I think there are some concerns I am comfortable at this point not moving forward on it for the November ballot. I don't want to put this conversation totally off, meaning that it's not going to, kind of like the Ryan situation, I would like to have some of the people who are opposed to this or have concerns about it, along with the town staff and maybe some of the select board members, to sit there and have a conversation about how this could be worked out and possibly brought forward in another format or with better language, and maybe for June of next year. But I have no problem, I don't want to say punting, but I have no problem deferring this from the November ballot. But I don't think that the issue can just be left alone.
Any contrary thoughts to that direction?
So I have, so I'm not willing to vote for this, or the short-term rental ordinance for the warrant unless egress is removed. And I'm hesitant about signing up for readdressing or looking at this. I listened to Galen and I resonate with everything you say, but also there's so many flip sides to the stuff that you're saying. And I can say I come from, I am one of the people. I am one of the people that did short-term rentals. I lived it. The families that came to our house rented there for 18 years straight. They wouldn't give up their week. They know that house better than we knew the house. So there's a lot of things that are being thrown out here that I can appreciate them hypothetically, but I personally lived it and I did not live what you're talking about. So there's two reasons that I want to bring up of why I'm not really willing to readdress this in the future. One of them is because I think, and I've stated this before, that the town entered into the short-term rental agreement or ordinance to stop the VRBOs, to stop our town from losing its residential look and feel. And I believe that was the backdrop of what residents and the town negotiated for the short-term rental agreement. And that's what we have, and I think it has done its job. I think it's a very good mechanism, and other towns, I think, are adopting similar things. The second part of that is, where does it stop? So I can make arguments for why electrical should be brought up to code, why staircases should be brought up to code. And so I'm afraid that if we take this ordinance that was a basis of an agreement with residents, and we then open this aperture, when does it stop? And as a short-term rental, as a person that did that, then I'm afraid that we're going to enter into, I always think long-term of what can happen here. Then people would be making decisions to sell their homes, and the people buying their homes, specifically for the homes that have troubles to go into egress, you would lose the look and feel of our town because they will be stripped down to the ground and the McMansions will be built up. I mean, that's what happens now at the beach, and that's what happens in other areas. So I'm for all the other changes in the ordinance. I think you guys did a tremendous job of bringing the ordinance into the process, getting it in the right wording, getting other things improved, the 50% that John talked about, that option. I'm for all that. I just can't be on the line for the egress windows.
And to your point, staff agrees that, that, where does it end? Like, that's a valid policy question. And it's one that I think we have to have a discussion about as a town on, like, what is that draw line? Where do we make that end? Certainly, it sounds like Kennebunk has agreed that the value of a life and egress windows is something that they cherish and that they did put in their short-term rental ordinance.
Yeah,
but,
so
that's something
I
that
have
we do need
to sort of stop you there, Galen, because I'm actually getting a little frustrated because by those statements, and I know you don't mean them that way, but when you're making those statements publicly in a board meeting, It's as if I don't care about a fire person's life or a human's life.
I never said that.
And I know you don't, but that's sort of what's inferred and, you
No, I
know.
think we need to have a
No,
continued
no, but
conversation.
I just, I'm just expressing how I feel.
Great.
So, but I just want to, so that, anyways, I've
Good,
said
and
enough.
that's good. But in support, I think of what Galen was saying, is that our short-term license already mandates code. We have smoke detectors. Those weren't in the old buildings, but they need to be in the new buildings. We have fire extinguishers. Those weren't in the old buildings, but they need to be in the new buildings. Now, there's old wiring in buildings. That would be beastly expensive to replace. Would we like to? Would it be safer? You bet, but way too expensive. The windows fall in this gray area. It's the question of, and I think it's what Galen was pointing to, is you struggle with where do you draw this line in the balance for safety and for the pain that it does cause, financial pain in getting there. And what's the benefit? And I'm now
So there
off.
are rope
So
ladders.
I'm not done.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
So that, I think, is what we're addressing here. So therefore, I, for one, would indeed also like to delay, to not have this in the November ballot. However, I do think it's something we ought to continue to address.
Again, I just welcome the conversation.
And
have
that's a
with
decision we
the
can,
board and
thank
community.
you, we can make later about whether we readdress this or not. So that's really, so I believe what I'm hearing is that the board would be willing to move forward. I'm sorry? Did someone else wish, I'm sorry.
Well, I
Joe,
don't know, did Joe,
Did you want?
No?
Can I go now?
oh, yeah, I didn't know.
What
if
I
we-
believe that I'm hearing is that the board would agree with moving forward with a motion and a vote for the main body of the short-term rental and the optional, to add in the optional for no more than 2 or 50%, which is ever greater, units, licenses allowed on a single parcel.
So those are amendments 1 and 2 and amendment 3, correct, Galen?
Correct.
To be approved to be on the November ballot.
And
For the short term, of the short-term
Now,
rental.
one thing just to note for the record, that restriction is for new licenses only. So if an individual, and I know there are some in town, have 4 licenses on a single parcel, those licenses will be renewed. Once they choose to drop a license, then they would be subject to the new ruling. Does that make sense?
A new owner.
New owner, or even if they're the same owner, once they drop it, they have to come back in line. Yep, yep.
And again, the other amendments, I did talk with the town solicitor about the proposed changes. She did not have any issue with the 50% rule, that requirement, or the license establishment. She just added another section there just to be inclusive. So in the old revision that you had, we struck out bed and breakfast, hotels, motels, and the town solicitor is recommending keep that in there and then add that definition of lodging establishment just as a catch-all provision. So we're catching any type of commercial hospitality industry that they have to meet site plan approval through chapter 240 and not go through the short-term rental licensing program.
Good. Okay, can I get a motion? Do we have,
Is there anyone?
Small
please, come.
Sean Smith, Oak Ridge Road. Mary Beth, do you currently have a short-term rental that you do?
No, I don't, but my sister-in-law does, the family home.
Okay. The side of it,
So, Kate,
if the
you want
vote was
recruits.
something to impact a financial side, if you were doing a short-term rental, I don't know if you could vote on a short-term rental, but it's not you.
No,
That's what
I was talking
when
from.
I was like, I
yeah,
thought that you were
so-
saying
so I
that you
was-
were in the
no,
short-term program.
I was saying that
Okay.
because
History.
of everyone's sitting at the board right now. I'm the one that is here because my family was allowed, or my husband's family was allowed to do short-term rentals.
But you
and-
don't.
But I don't.
Right, because like anything with the pier, Alan
Yes.
has to kind of
Yep.
let go because he's involved in it. So that's all I
Right.
wanted to make sure.
Right.
And any other discussion, comments? Have a motion, please?
Go ahead. Do you have anything?
Well, I would move
Use the
that,
microphone.
I would move that we approve the 3 amendments that we agreed to approve. And and also in that motion that we'll revisit the egress windows at some point in the immediate future.
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
think,
vote for
I
that.
don't think that needs to be, let's strike that's a future thing and it would
Okay,
compromise.
then I'll change, I'll strike that,
Yeah.
just that I'll move that we do approve 1, 2, and 3.
Good. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay, thank you. All righty, the chapter 240 is the land use. Galen?
Okay, good evening, Board. So again, this review went through the town solicitor. We did have a discussion about, do we use the highest annual tide or the highest astronomical tide? As it relates to the high water mark for shoreline zoning purposes. We did get clarification from Maine DEP. So while chapter 1000 says highest annual tide, they are recommending that we use the highest astronomical tide, because that is going to deal with more it's more concise, it's more average of 19 years of data versus every year it might fluctuate. So it's giving a little bit more stability, and they're in the process of rewriting chapter 1000 to address that. So that was something that was a legal question from the last time. And then I think there was just some technical wording rearranging that she did throughout the document, and that was pretty much it. So, welcome any questions that you have about the.
Any questions,
proposed language in
concerns?
front of you.
Entertain a motion, please.
This is.
This would just be the chapter 240 land use ordinance language.
So I will make a motion to approve chapter 240 language changes to go to the November ballot.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, moving on to the floodplain ordinance. Galen?
Okay, so this is just a technical amendment, it's very quick. Nothing changed from this, from the solicitor review. It's just referencing the floodplain management ordinance. This is the model ordinance that the state provides the town to adopt. It's in order for us to keep it being part of the National Flood Insurance Program. And so there was just a technical amendment that was not caught. It was just a reference point. And so that's in the document there for you, but it's just, again, a technical amendment that was missed by the state in their review.
Any questions? Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the floodplain ordinance.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor? And can you address shellfish, or can we talk about shellfish? There isn't a lot of change in the shellfish ordinance. I think only the main piece is we did drop the program where folks could get credit for seeding, because there's really very little seeding that's being done. And I can't think of anything else that was significant. There were a few dates changes.
Some of it was just also updating the language to comply with the State Department of Marine Resources.
Thank you. Perfect.
I'll make a motion to approve the shellfish ordinance.
Second.
Having a first and second, any further discussion? All in favor? And finally, it's the town hall bond ballot question. Do we have some presentation on this piece?
So in your packet on the draft warrant, there are 3 questions. One is for the base project, 2 is for it should say solar and geothermal, and 3 is for the bird-safe windows. So the question is, will you put this on the ballot? The second question is, do you want it as it's written, or do you want to change any of the allocation?
Why am I having trouble finding it?
It's not
Yeah,
here.
what page is this?
It's not here.
It's in the warrant, so it's at the very beginning of section 8.
Yeah, I thought I saw it, but I can't find it, so I've been scrolling like crazy. It's the beginning of section 8. It was just out of order. All right, any thoughts, guys, as we're looking at this? I like the way that it's presented. I'd originally thought that I might want to separate the solar from the geothermal, but I think it's best to have them combined as a joint option for enhancement of the building.
You're gonna keep going up.
I'm working it.
It's page 36.
36? Oh.
You know, I usually like digital things, but this.
You went by it, you went by
It's
it.
174 pages.
There we go.
Right.
It's a lot of scrolling.
There you are.
Yeah. We have saved a lot
Sorry-
of paper
sorry,
in town,
folks.
but this is, it's wonderful to save paper, but
But there are days.
it does delay things.
Okay.
So I think that's really, and of course, the format, there was a comment that I received that someone would like to see the financial statement before the questions. That just puts a lot of reading, in my opinion, in front of it. I think the questions are pretty straightforward, and it ought to be logical that those are adding, they so state. So,
So I have no problem with the proposed warrant. The basic building and then giving the people the option to add, if you will, add-ons, which would be the geothermal and the solar and the bird-safe windows. I think it gives the voters an option if they want to add those to the base price of what it would cost for the potential new town hall.
perfect.
That's my opinion.
Any thoughts, other thoughts?
So you want to keep them separate?
I would prefer to keep them separate because I think,
Which is as it's written, yes?
Right.
Yes.
I think I'd like to keep them separate too.
Good.
I
Joe,
agree.
we're good. So can I entertain a motion?
well, I think we have a
Oh,
comment.
we have a comment.
Yeah, I just had a question. Paul Hogan, Kings Highway. Will there be a sentence telling about the long-term savings that you would get from those? Because if you throw another, $600,000, I don't know what, I would think people would vote no. But if you said our annual operating costs are going to be reduced by X, as part of the statement, people might think. If it's buried on page 67, no one will see it.
I just wonder, Paul, I hear what you're saying and I agree with it, but I don't know if you can put that on a ballot question because it may not be
Not cast in stone.
come to fruition. And you would have put something out there that may, in the end, may not happen. Could be greater savings, it could be less savings, but if people voted on it with that specific in the question, I think we might have a
I
problem.
think you're right.
Yeah, I think it's really up to us to sell,
you have to campaign it.
inform people. We've got to make it clear that, that these are they're longer term, but they're less than 10 years for the way, especially if you look at the escalation that I believe, and I think we're already seeing in energy costs. And that's with the energy cost escalation, they can go up to tenfold. But, good. I don't want to misspeak, because my fellow board members are telling me that's too much. For the solar, for the geothermal, it can be longer at today's prices for energy. If today's prices go 3x, 4x, what's the return?
We would be getting about 91% savings in year 11 to 12, years 11 to 12.
Okay, I was off 2 years. Okay, fair enough. But at any rate, it's not 2 generations away. These are real dollars that are being saved. And in essence, we're buying energy at today's costs over that time period. And as every time those dollar energy go up, we're shortening our payback. And then after that, we're scot-free. Tremendous gift to the town. But my soapbox, I will get off of it. So I think we are in agreement as it's written. So could I have a motion, please?
So I do need motions on each of these articles in terms of recommendation.
on each article within the
Question
town?
1, question 2, question 3.
Ah, got it. So again, for folks at home, question 1 is the bond for construction of the new town hall. Bonded value projected to be $5,750,000 or less.
So you need a motion to place question 1, bond for construction of the new town hall on the November warrant.
Please.
But it's
So-
also your recommendation to the voters.
Just mine or the whole board?
Well, it will take the majority of the board's
So,
recommendation.
all right, so I will make a motion to bond, for question 1, bond for construction of a new town hall in the amount of $5,750,000 with a recommendation to adopt this article.
Second.
I have a first and a second. Further discussion? All in favor? Question 2 is the bond for geothermal and
Solar and geothermal.
solar and geothermal for the town hall project at a bonded cost of $846,827.
So I will make a motion to put question 2, bond for solar and geothermal for the town hall project in an amount of $846,827 on the November ballot with a recommendation to adopt this article.
Second.
First and a second. Further discussion. All in favor? Finally, question 3. This is a bond for bird-safe windows for the town hall project. This is to bond a value of $27,608. Do I have a motion?
Come on, I did 2 of them.
It's all going to be on you. It's all going to be on you.
Just run it.
Come on, run
All right, I will make a motion to adopt. Question 3, bond for bird-safe windows for the town hall project in the amount of $27,608 with a for the November ballot with a recommendation to adopt this article.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, say, should we go down all the others? We've already done them, I think.
I'm taking those votes as your recommendation.
Okay, so we are done with item 8. Item 9. Katie, if you are in the audience with Mr. Fox, if you would please raise your hand so that David can promote you. The Solid Waste and Recycling Committee has been looking for opportunities to provide a composting option for residents. It's important to remember that the heaviest portion of our municipal solids that we have to dispose of and pay for the disposal of are food waste. So the composting program would remove those from the town collections and therefore be a benefit in lowering town expense as well as helping in our environment. Some months ago, Lori had learned about a program that was happening in the town of Kittery. It seemed fairly easy to coordinate, so the Solid Waste and Recycling Committee, and thanks to Paul Hogan for spearheading this, have contacted a company called Mr. Fox. And we are recommending that the town move ahead with that program. It would be at a cost of just over $2,000 a year. There is no commitment. It can be canceled at any time. And this would be taken from the solid waste FY25 carry forward, which will be recommended later in this packet. So is Katie with us?
Katie, you can speak.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, Katie. Could you be willing just briefly, please, I'm sure it's been a long night for you as well, but just help us understand, thank you for being with us. Help us understand a little bit of background for Mr. Fox.
Sure. My husband and I have owned Mr. Fox for about 10 years now, and and it's been in business since about 2009. We do residential and commercial curbside pickup of compost and or food waste and compostable products. And in our facility, we turn it back into compost.
Marvelous. And so we would have two bins located in town. So how often, how would that work? People will be able to go to those bins, deposit their solid waste, no plastic bags, I'm sure. But can we use compostable bags? And then how do you take it from there?
Correct. So we have trucks that service the Kennebunk area all throughout the seacoast, and they would come and pick it. I'm not sure if you're weekly or bi-weekly, but they would come and pick it up with one of our trucks. We actually have a few bins at the community gardens, which I believe is near one of the locations.
Good.
But yes, so you can put any type of food waste. I believe Paul had a list of acceptable items, and residents can put any type of food waste in compostable bags, or some people put them in 5-gallon buckets with no bags, and they can dump them in on their own, and then we will remove it for you.
There was one concern that came up from a resident about the possibility of attracting rodents. Do you have any knowledge or information on that possibility, or?
Our bins are rodent proof, and so they actually do seal. And so as long as they are used appropriately, the rodents should not be an issue.
And odor would be held in by the seal as well?
Correct, yes. And then I believe it's weekly, but to be picked up weekly, you wouldn't notice an odor. We do weekly and bi-weekly for residential pickups throughout the seacoast. So, yeah, you wouldn't, in a week, there would be no real odor.
Yeah, this is Paul. Yeah, Katie's pitch hitting. So the price we had gotten, which is in your packet, was for once a week pickup.
Great, so it is weekly. Thank you.
And Lori, I guess you were the ones who recommended or heard about Mr. Fox from Kittery or York?
Yeah, Kittery.
Yeah, who were using it. And these, public sites are, if you go to South Portland, if you go to Portland, even though they have private composting you can get in your yard, they offer this for people who, can't afford or don't want to have their own. And, they have locations at schools and, municipal buildings, et cetera. And in New York, they're using these bins. Part of the strategy in New York to compost, it's citywide now, was to cut down on rats. They saw it as a tool to cut down on rodents because it was terrible in New York. They just saw the bags out on the street.
Yeah.
So that was part of the strategy.
Perfect.
And the biggest reason, there's several reasons to compost, but if it's going up into an incinerator or going into a landfill, it produces all kinds of methane, and composting is clean. It's, you produce soil, plus it's not polluting.
And you're not paying to have to dump it. So
Right, you're paying to have the service,
Indeed.
but it's in lieu of that. And this is like a pilot
Right.
for us.
Thank you. Katie, any other thoughts?
No, we're excited about this, so thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question, Katie? So you said you put the waste in compostable bags. I'm not opposed to composting, but are there specific bags that you would have to use, or are they available to be purchased?
Yes, there are specific compost bags that anybody can buy on Amazon. We sell them on our website, and you can those break down, as in the same amount of time as food waste does.
Okay.
But they have to be specifically compostable, so that the residents just have to look out for that.
They're waterproof over a couple day period, sort of thing, or what?
Yeah, I have one on my kitchen counter, and really the only thing that kind of degrades it is hot items. So if you're putting in, something straight from cooking, that's really the only thing that degrades it.
Cool.
I can keep mine on for a few days, up to a week, on my counter in my kitchen.
Cool. Other thoughts? And could I entertain a motion to contract with Mr. Fox at at a cost of, well, slightly, not to exceed $2,500 per year for the collection of compost.
So moved.
Second.
And any discussion?
I just want to make it clear that this would be the responsibility of the resident to bring it to these bins.
Yes.
It's not a pickup.
It's not a it's a pickup at a location.
At a location, so
at a
you
public
transport it
location.
yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I would just like the committee to rethink of the site that they put down for the police department, to maybe pick another site.
Yeah, I think we would want it at Public Works, is what I've talked to Eric about.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okey-doke.
Okay.
So it's great. So I've got a first and a second. And no further discussion. All in favor? Thank you. And thank you, Katie.
Thank you.
Night. Item 10. This is to consider the FY25 carry forward request.
Nicole.
Nicole. Hi, Nicole.
Hi. So, we wanted to bring forward, it's in your packet, a list of carry forwards for fiscal year '25. Just wanted to give a little, that we exceeded our revenue budget by about $437,000. And we came in under expenses for approximately $921,000 for last year. So, we put together each
And a
department.
lot of that was because of staffing challenges this
Yes.
past year.
Yep, so we put, you have a list in your packets of what we're asking to carry forward. This year, we actually, separated them, so we have a column for committed, and that means we already have invoices that we need to pay. And then, so our actual carry forward amount that we're asking to bring forward into this year is $222,749.
It goes to fund balance.
Say that again?
222.
$222,749.
So, and again, Nicole, just so that I'm clear and the folks are hearing, that those dollars are dollars that were committed for FY, I get it, 24,
25.
5 projects that we need to expend in 26.
Correct.
So it's not new expenses, it's just we didn't have time or opportunity or
Right, yep,
chance
it's for like
to
unfinished
expend it.
projects and, items that we bought in
Perfect.
'25 but didn't get invoiced until after.
But then the balance of that goes back, I was just asking Lori, into the general fund.
Correct.
Now, what does that mean, so that when it comes tax time next year, those are monies that we already have to work on our 26 budget, 27 budget? I hate fiscal years.
So
yeah.
every year as part of the audit process, we look at our assets and liabilities as well as our infrastructure investments. And so the auditors go through a process of establishing our net position, is the term that they use nowadays. And that is about the depreciation of all our assets together with any investment in the assets as well as from a cash basis. Then what we have to do is establish our fund balance in accordance with our fund balance policy, which is 18%. And so that includes school, county, and municipal expenditures. And once we meet that, then the auditor will come forward with anything that can be put into the capital reserve account above that. And that's what you guys look at in January, once the audit's complete, and then make a decision on that.
So that those extra monies would be put into the capital reserve, which is
Once we hit that fund balance level.
found
yes.
relevant, to be able to fund what are going to be future expenses.
Capital
And
expenses, yeah.
that's what Sean was talking about, and we do a lot of that. That's something I've wanted to bring up before, but at any rate, saving to pay for the
And
future.
every year as part of the budget process, a decision is
capital
made how
piece.
much
Yep.
to bring from capital reserve for those capital projects.
Good. All righty.
Okay.
Thank you. And do
So
we
do you
have
need a
any
motion?
action here?
Make the
Make the
motion.
motion now.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve the requested carry forwards presented, $222,749.
I second
I have a first and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience, Nicole.
Yes, Nicole. So item 11, we have the pleasure of accepting two donations, $40 from an anonymous donor towards the nurses' account, $705 from the Goose Rock Beach Fire Company towards the general needs account.
So moved with gratitude.
Second.
First and second, no discussion, all in favor.
Thank you.
Item 12, other business. Joe?
None here.
I would just remind the voters of Kennebunkport that they have 20 minutes to get to the fire station to
Yes.
cast their vote in the RSU 21 budget.
Alan?
I'm all set.
Mary Beth?
All set, thank you.
I have nothing. Chief?
Yeah, so I just want to remind everyone that we will be committing taxes after tonight. So regardless of whether the school budget passes or not, state law allows us to commit for the school based on the last district budget meeting, which would have been the one that was authorized in July. And the town its cash reserves are getting low because we normally commit by now. And we still have to pay the school even though they don't have a budget. So we will be committing taxes and sending out bills probably the week after next.
Tell them we'll pay them next year.
Yeah.
And that would be due when, do you think, Laurie? September?
So
No,
by
we're already there.
warrant, we have to have 45 days after commitment. So I think it's around October 13th will be the due date.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
And we need to approve the August 28th treasurer's warrant.
So moved.
Second.
First, second, all in favor? And a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh.
Thank you, folks, for sticking with us.